Part 131. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1301. Zhao Mian stood in the sea of blood among the mountains of corpses, wearing a red and black gown, holding a long sword in his hand, the cold edge of the sword dripping with scarlet blood, and his whole person exuded a cold and stern temperament. Zhao Mian looked at me, his eyes under the mask full of teasing. "Your Majesty, you are late." My pupils trembled slightly. I looked around, searching for Zhang Xi, and finally found him under a wall. I felt a chill in my heart and quickly stepped forward to check. 11. Wake up. I lifted Zhang Xi up and called his name. He was not dead, but was seriously injured. Under my call, Zhang Xi slowly opened his eyes. The first thing he said when he saw me was to apologize. "I'm sorry, I couldn't protect these villagers." I shook my head. Zhao Mian was too strong and Zhang Xi couldn't handle it at all. If he was able to survive, it was probably because of Zhao Mian's mercy. I placed it, then stood up, looked at Zhao Mian with a cold expression, and asked coldly, "Why did you kill these villagers?" Zhao Mian's behavior was outrageous. Hundreds of living lives were brutally killed by him, but he seemed extremely calm. "Why?" Zhao Mian looked at me jokingly. "Your Majesty, why do you say? I know that you have gone to Han Bao's tomb and want to rescue Han Bao. I killed these villagers to help you." I clenched my fists, with anger flashing in my eyes, and shouted at him, "That's nonsense. I have my own way. Why are you killing these villagers?" Zhao Mian laughed and said, "The method you call is not enough to break the seal. The power of the general in your body will be of great use in the future. How can you waste it on such insignificant things?" I frowned. My original plan was to rely on the bones and the power of the generals in my body to open the seal. But this Zhao Mian actually killed these villagers. I took a deep breath and forced myself to calm down. I looked at Zhao Mian and asked, "Zhao Mian, I knew you were cruel, but I didn't expect you to be so cruel. What do you think of human life?" A smile appeared in Zhao Mian's eyes, and he said, "Heaven and earth are indifferent to kindness. It has no kindness. It treats all things like a rotten dog, allowing all things to fend for themselves. Human life, I just let them end early. They are going to die sooner or later anyway, so they might as well let me take advantage of them." When I heard these words, the anger in my heart became even deeper. Zhao Mian could actually talk about murder in such a high-sounding way. Zhao Mian saw the anger in my eyes, and his eyes were full of disdain. He said, "Lu Su, do you know why you still fail after reincarnation? It's because you have love in your heart, pity the world, and are unwilling to let those innocent people sacrifice." Zhao Mian's voice suddenly rose a little higher. "Heaven and earth are unkind and treat all things like rotten dogs. Whatever you, Lu Su, are unwilling to do, I, Zhao Mian, will do it for you. The best way to break the seal of Han Bao tomb is to let the corpses kill their family members and suck their blood. Only in this way will the corpse energy in their bodies increase and they will have the capital to break the seal." In a sense, I cannot deny Zhao Mian's approach, because his approach is indeed the most intuitive and effective way. But I, Lu Su, cannot just watch those innocent villagers die. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1302. Zhao Mian held a long sword in his hand and stood with his hands behind his back. He continued to say to me, "If you want to achieve great things, you must give up something. For example, if you take the so-called good thoughts in your heart. I was born because of you, and no one in this world knows you better than me. You have given up your evil. In this case, I will take care of this kind of thing." When I heard this sentence, I didn't know what to say. Zhao Mian is an independent entity arising from my evil thoughts. In other words, he is me and I am him. While Zhao Mian and I were talking, Yinggo arrived with those goo corpses. When those goo corpses saw the corpses of the villagers on the ground, they were like hungry wolves, rushing towards the corpses like crazy. They bit into the flesh and blood of the corpse, making strange and eerie sounds. Yinggo came to Zhao Mian's side and stood with him. His eyes looked at me full of teasing. "Lu Su, it is undeniable that your plan is indeed very good, but you underestimate me too much." I looked at Yinggo coldly and said nothing. Zhao Mian said to Yinggo, "Stop talking nonsense and implement the plan immediately." I know the plan he mentioned, which is to release the drought demon. Obviously, this time, Zhao Mian used winning as a gun again. However, Yinggu was completely unaware of this situation. Yinggu knew that I came to Yong'an village, but he didn't know that I went to Hanbei tomb. Zhao Mian knows everything, including that I want to release Hanbei. The most important thing is that not only did he not stop me, he actually used Yinggu to complete my plan. Until now, I have no way to change all this, I can only cater to this matter. It was also while we were talking that the bones and corpses had devoured all the villagers, and new flesh and blood had grown on their bodies. The corpse energy was much stronger than at the beginning. Zhao Mian said to Yinggo, "You hold him, and I will take these zombies to implement the plan." Yinggu agreed without even thinking about it. I couldn't figure out what method Zhao Mian used to gain Yinggu's trust. Thinking about it carefully, all kinds of enemies I encountered were defeated by Zhao Mian, whether it was the good and evil double-faced Buddha, the Mission Ghost Lord, or Zhang Yucheng. They all trusted Zhao Mian, but in fact, Zhao Mian was just using them. Zhao Mian took the zombies to the drought tomb, but Yinggo stood in front of me and looked at me with a gloomy face. "Lu Su, today is the day you die." I raised a sneer at the corner of my mouth and said, "If you want to kill me, you must have this ability." As soon as he finished speaking, Yinggu's body erupted with frightening corpse energy. The powerful corpse energy swept through the entire village. I was shocked and looked at Yinggu coldly. Yinggu's figure flashed and disappeared instantly. My pupils trembled slightly. Yinggu was much stronger than Ho Cheng. I guess it was because he had absorbed the yin qi of those zombies. I still use formations to deal with Ho Cheng. But now, I don't have time to set up the formation at all. At this moment, I felt the wind whistling in my ears. I turned around suddenly and saw Yinggu appearing beside me. He raised his fist as big as a sandbag and hit me. This punch didn't seem to have any offensive power, but it contained a huge amount of power. I quickly placed Jingxiao in front of me. I heard a boom, and Yinggu's fist hit Jingxiao hard. I was forced to retreat continuously by this huge force. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1303. I stabilized my body and took a step forward. The yin and yang double dragon diagram unfolded under my feet, instantly enlarging, enveloping Yinggu within the magic circle. Two giant dragons, black and white, rise into the sky from the yin-yang Pisces diagram, and the two giant dragons circle around Yinggu. Yinggu's pupils trembled slightly, and he asked with some surprise, "Lu Su, your strength has grown so fast in just a few days." I looked at him coldly and said, "Really? I don't feel anything." Seeing how arrogant I was, Yinggu grinned and said, "But if you want to kill me, it's not that easy. However, I just take advantage of today's opportunity to kill you to prevent you from causing us big trouble in the future." I controlled the yin and yang twin dragons and attacked Yinggu. The two giant dragons opened their bloody mouths and bit into Yinggu. Yinggu stood firm, and the corpse energy around him surged. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the white dragon's upper and lower jaws. At the same time, the black dragon's bloody mouth bit Yinggu. However, Yingu's body was as solid as a rock, and he was unable to cause any harm to Yingu. Hearing Yingu's roar, he used both hands to break the giant white dragon in half. The white dragon turned into dots of starlight and disappeared into the air. Yingu turned around suddenly, grabbed the black dragon's huge head, and then used force to throw the black dragon's huge body up. Seeing this scene, the expression on my face didn't change much, because Yingu is one of the 4 ancestors of zombies. He was already extremely powerful. Now that he has absorbed the corpse energy, his strength has increased to a higher level. I used the yin-yang double dragon diagram, completely testing. At this moment, I suddenly saw a beautiful figure from the corner of my eye. It's Huaxiu. Huaxiu ran towards me in a hurry. I asked somewhat reproachfully, "Why are you here?" I have told Huaxiu before to stay in the room no matter what happens. As for other things, I will take care of them. Huaxiu knew that she had done something wrong and seemed a little guilty. She said, "I'm here to help you. Go back quickly, I'm here." Huaxiu shook his head and said, "I can't leave. Brother Huang, I have something to tell you." Her expression became very serious, and I asked, "What's going on?" Huaxiu looked at Yinggo, who was trapped in the yin and yang double dragon picture, and she said, "I want to absorb the corpse energy from his body, so that I can become an immortal bone." I was slightly startled and asked again, "Did Zhao Mian tell you?" Huaxiu nodded, and then told me what she had just experienced. She did listen to my words and stayed in the room to heal her wounds. But while she was healing, the door to the room suddenly opened and Zhao Mian walked in. Huaxiu would not have a good look towards Zhao Mian. After all, Zhao Mian had deceived her and hurt so many children, so Huaxiu wanted to take action immediately. But Zhao Mian said that he came here not to fight, but to tell her how to break through the non-transformation of bones. This method is to let Huaxiu absorb the corpse energy from Yinggo. He didn't tell you how to absorb it? Huaxiu asked, "Brother Huang, do you really believe what Zhao Mian said?" I nodded and said, "Believe it." Huaxiu was about to stop talking and said, but I don't believe that although absorbing the corpse energy from Yinggu's body can indeed make me break through and become an immortal bone, I don't want to use the method she told me." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1304. I looked at Huaxiu, took a deep breath, and said, "Huaxiu, although Zhao Mian is extremely evil, he shouldn't joke about this kind of thing." Huaxiu looked at me and asked, "Brother Emperor, do you really believe him? He is a man who will do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. None of us can guarantee whether we will fall into his trap if we follow his method." I looked at Huaxiu and said very seriously, "Huaxiu, there is one thing that the Emperor has not told you. Zhao Mian is my evil soul. He was born because of me. My intuition tells me that he will not harm me. Except for me and Su Tianxian, few people know that Zhao Mian is my evil soul." Huaxiu was stunned on the spot for a moment. She looked at me in disbelief and asked in shock, "Brother Emperor, are you telling the truth?" I nodded and said with absolute certainty, "It's true, he looks exactly like me." Huaxiu took a breath of cold air and said to himself, "No wonder you are so kind, Brother Huang. It turns out that all the evil thoughts are concentrated on Zhao Mian alone. Zhao Mian and I belong to the same body, but he inherited my evil thoughts. If there were no Zhao Mian, would I be like Zhao Mian and do whatever it takes to achieve my goals? I think, probably not. Because my heart is still good. Even if I have evil thoughts, I will be in a state of balance with the good thoughts in my heart. Wait, I seem to realize something. Zhao Mian just said something. You have given up your evil. In this case, I will take care of this kind of thing. Could it be that Zhao Mian's birth was also part of my plan for reincarnation? And he is destined to do things for me that I can't do in his life? It seems that I need to have a good talk with Zhao Mian. Just when Huaxiu and I were talking, Yinggo had already broken through the yin and yang double dragon diagram. I quickly said to Huaxiu, "Time is running out. Tell me the method that Zhao Mian told you quickly." Huaxiu nodded quickly and said, "He said that if you want me to successfully break through the incorruptible bones, I must borrow the power of the 7 stars to use the 7 stars corpse return formation. Moreover, he also said that you are the only one in this world who can use it this burst." Zhao Mian is right, I am the only one in the world who can use the 7-star corpse returning formation. Only those with the Zaiwei destiny can mobilize the power of the stars. However, this 7-star corpse returning array has a restraining effect on zombies. It basically uses the power of the stars of the Big Dipper to divide the corpse energy in the zombie's body into 7, weakening its strength. It can also gather the scattered corpse energy into 1. Zhao Mian wanted me to disperse the corpse energy in Yinggo's body and then gather it in Huaxiu's body. However, this formation has a fatal flaw, that is, it has no aggressiveness and no confinement. In other words, as long as Yinggo wants to escape from this formation, he can escape. However, I can overcome this shortcoming because I have the 8-character mantra. When Yinggo saw Huaxiu whispering, he said with some disdain, "Lu Su, it's useless. Even if a 1,000-year-old zombie helps you, you can't kill me." I asked Huaxiu, "Huaxiu, give me a minute. It takes time to set up the formation. If you draw the talisman, it won't be so troublesome. After all, the secret talisman is there." "Good." Huaxiu stepped forward and stood in front of me. I sat cross-legged and began to mobilize the Zaiwei Qi in my body. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1305. The originally dark cloudy night sky suddenly became clear, and the stars emitted dazzling light, among which the Big Dipper was particularly shining. When I saw the Big Dipper being summoned by me, I quickly got up and went to the direction corresponding to the Big Dipper to set up a magic circle. Huaxiu is still fighting with Yinggo. Yinggo is powerful, Huaxiu is no match at all and can only defend passively. After fighting several times, Huaxiu instantly fell into a disadvantage. After I completed the arrangement of the first formation I took a deep breath and looked at Huaxiu's position. I summoned the Sea of Ghosts and Ghosts. The inky darkness seemed to be given life, constantly flowing, and finally turned into a black ocean. Countless Yin soldiers emerged from the Sea of Ghosts. I gave the order and countless Yin soldiers attacked Yinggo. The winning hook was too powerful, and I was worried that Huaxiu would be hurt, so I summoned Yin soldiers to share some of the damage with Huaxiu. If Nadia doesn't go to rest due to excessive consumption, I can ask her to come out and help. But the bad thing is that Cai Dai went to rest and is probably in a deep sleep now. With the help of Yin Bing, Huaxiu got a breather. While Yinggu was dealing with these underworld soldiers, he turned his head and looked at me with disdain in his eyes. "Lu Su, just a shady soldier wants to deal with me. Are you too naive?" I ignored him. What I have to do now is to complete the arrangement of the 7 formation eyes. I speed up the formation of the formation. When I finished setting up the 5th formation, a powerful corpse energy came from behind. I looked intently and saw that Yinggo had wiped out all the Yin soldiers I had summoned. Then it hit me at an extremely fast speed. When Huaxiu saw this, he quickly stood in front of me. "Brother Imperial. Do what you want to do, I'm here." Huaxiu let out a sweet shout and fought with Yinggo. I frowned and sped up the formation. When I finished arranging the 6th formation, I heard Yinggo's joking voice. "Lu Su, although I don't know what you are doing, but if you don't take action, your sister will die." I looked back and saw Huaxiu being pinched by Yinggo's neck and lifting her up with one hand. I stopped what I was doing, looked at Yinggo coldly, and said, "Let my sister go." Yingo raised a sneer on his lips and said, "Do you think it's realistic?" My expression condensed. It was time to use the 8-character mantra. I took out the evil suppressing seal, kneaded the formula with one hand, and muttered something in my mouth. The next moment, the evil suppressing seal slowly floated into the air, and the bottom of the seal emitted a dazzling golden light. The 8-character mantra flew out from the bottom of the seal, and the golden light dispersed the darkness. Winning hook shrouded. I pinched my sword finger and pointed it sharply at Yingo. The 8-character mantra shot through the air and surrounded Yingo. The Buddha's light shines everywhere, the power of the Buddha's Dharma, and a powerful coercion spreads out from the 8-character mantra. Yingo's legs bent and he almost fell to his knees. The 8-character mantra. "Lusu, when did you get it?" Yingo roared angrily, releasing the corpse energy in his body to compete with the 8-character mantra. I took this opportunity to come to the location of the last formation I and stepped on the ground violently. The 7-star corpse returning formation is done. The next moment, 7 beams of dazzling purple light soared into the sky, echoing the Big Dipper stars in the sky. A formation quietly emerged, shrouding Yingo and Huashiu in the formation. I made a secret with both hands, and then pointed my sword to win the hook. The next moment, the corpse energy in Yingo's body surged out like a tide. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1306. Yingo was shocked and lost his grip on Huaziyu's neck. He looked at me in disbelief and asked angrily, "Lusu, what on earth do you want to do?" I sneered, "What to do? Of course it will kill you." Among the 4 ancestors of zombies, Yingo is the most arrogant one. This arrogance just gave me an opportunity. Yingo's expression became extremely ugly. He looked at me with a gloomy expression, and then he struggled desperately and tried his best to break out of the magic circle. However, with the 8-character mantra imprisoned, no matter what method Yingo uses, he cannot succeed. I took a deep breath and used the 7-star returning Yang formation to begin to draw out the corpse energy from Yingo's body. Upon seeing this, Huashiu quickly sat cross-legged on the ground, and I injected all the corpse energy extracted from Yingo's body into Huashiu's body. No matter how stupid Yingo was, he understood what I was going to do at this time. He said to me in a vicious tone, "Lusu, you want to use the corpse energy in my body to help your sister become an immortal bone? Don't even think about it." Yingo suddenly stretched out his hand and punched Huashiu. Huashiu was in a special stage and could not be disturbed. I quickly controlled 4 of the 8-character mantras to block Huashiu. Just hearing a bang, Yingo punched the Beza mantra hard. The next moment, Yingo was directly bounced away by the Beza mantra. I shouted sharply and sped up the speed of removing the corpse energy from Yingo's body. Yingo struggled desperately in the magic circle and tried every means to escape. However, no matter how hard he tried, he could not escape. The 7-star corpse returning formation relies on the Ziwei Qi in my body. As long as I activate the 7-star corpse returning formation, the Ziwei Qi in my body will be consumed. For the sake of Huashiu, even if the Ziwei Qi is completely consumed, I will pull out the corpse Qi from Yingo's body. As time passed by, I felt that the Ziwei Qi in my body had been exhausted. On the other hand, Yingo, who had been drained of the corpse Qi by me, could no longer stand still. "Lusu, how dare you plot against me? I will definitely kill you." I sneered, "Kill me? The prerequisite is that you have to survive." At this moment, Huashiu suddenly burst out with a powerful aura. This breath was as steady as a mountain and as violent as a tsunami. I could feel the terror of this breath from a long distance away. Huashiu stood up slowly, and his overall momentum changed drastically. Huaxiu was a gentle and playful little princess before, but now she is a condescending queen who despises all living things. I was overjoyed that Huaxiu could no longer turn into bones, which meant that Huaxiu could walk under the sun and live like a normal person. At the same time, I reached my limit, my vision turned black, my legs weakened, and I fell towards the ground. The pain I imagined caused by falling to the ground did not come. Instead, I fell into a fragrant embrace. I opened my eyes with difficulty and saw Huaxiu holding me in her arms, looking at me softly. She slowly reached out her hand, gently touched my cheek, and said softly, "Brother Imperial, thanks for your hard work." "No. It's okay." The moment I fell, the magic circle failed and Yingu took this opportunity to escape. I looked at the direction in which Yingu was escaping and said to Huaxiu, "Huaxiu, you must not let Yingu escape." Huaxiu nodded and said, "Just leave this matter to me." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1307. Huaxiu got up and chased in the direction where Yingu disappeared. I dragged my exhausted body and chased after him. When I caught up, I saw Huaxiu stepping on the winning hook under his feet. Because of the 7-star returning Yang formation, Yingu was already extremely weak and was no match for Huaxiu, let alone Huaxiu who had become an immortal. Yingu looked at me fiercely and said, "Lu Su, do you think everything can be solved by killing me? I tell you, it's just wishful thinking. Even if I die, you won't be better off." I looked at Yingu jokingly and said disdainfully, "Don't think that I don't know what you are paying attention to. Don't worry, Hanbei will not die, nor will he enter the sky coffin. Your plan will fall short." Upon hearing my words, Yingu's pupils trembled violently. How did you know about this?" I didn't answer his question and signaled Huaxiu to take action. Huaxiu used force on his feet and directly crushed Yingu's head. Yingu, one of the 4 ancestors of zombies, died just like that. "Brother Royal." Huaxiu came to me and gently supported me. I smiled at her and said, "I'm fine, don't worry." Huaxiu looked at me with big watery eyes, and then said softly, "Brother Emperor, thank you." I rolled my eyes at her and said angrily, "Don't say thank you between you and me. You are my sister. If I don't pamper you, who will pamper you?" A shy look flashed in Huaxiu's eyes, and she hummed softly at me. "Well, you won't thank me anymore." Huaxiu is now immortal and can command thousands of corpses, which can be regarded as a solution to my worries. "Let's go to Hanbei's tomb." Huaxiu nodded and helped me walk towards Hanbei's tomb. On the way, Huaxiu suddenly said, "Brother Emperor, now that my strength has soared, I can help you a lot in the future, so you won't have to bear everything alone." I smiled and said, "I can't bear to let you suffer. I hope you can live like an ordinary person." Huaxiu paused, looked at me blankly, and asked, "Can I really live like an ordinary person?" "Of course. You are no different from human beings now. However, your lifespan is much longer than that of humans. Maybe when the Emperor is 70 or 80 years old and your hair is gray, you will still look like this. Zombies are immortal, invulnerable, and indestructible. The non-bone can be regarded as breaking away from the category of zombies. It has all the characteristics of zombies and also has the characteristics of humans." Huaxiu shook his head at me and said, "I don't. If Brother Huang goes, I will leave with Brother Huang." I stretched out my hand, gently touched Huaxiu's little head, and said, "Silly girl." Huaxiu looked into the distance, his eyes full of yearning. "Brother Emperor, I hope I can live with you forever in the future. By then, you should marry Master Tianqian and have a child with you too. He will call me aunt, and I will watch him grow up. You and Master Tianqian can also grow old slowly. For thousands of years, I have been trapped in darkness and longed for a home." Huaxiu looked at me and asked, "Brother, can you give me another home?" I looked at Hwashiu's pretty face full of hope, her lips trembled slightly, and I said, "Yes." Hwashiu smiled brightly at me, stretched out his hand and said, "Then let's pull the hook." Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1308. I looked at Hwashiu's expectant expression, hesitated again and again, stretched out my little finger and hooked it with her fingers. What Hwashiu expected was exactly what I had in mind. But, after everything is over, can I return to a normal life? Or, can I survive? Hang yourself on a hook and you won't be allowed to change for 100 years. Whoever becomes a puppy becomes a puppy. Hwashiu smiled sweetly at me and said, "Brother Emperor, if you break the contract, then you are a puppy." I smiled and said, "No." Although he said this on his lips, he was extremely bitter in his heart. After experiencing so many things, I was vaguely aware of my destination. Forget it, the soldiers will come to block the water and the earth will cover it up, no matter what he will experience in the future. What I have to do now is to bring Jusha back to the palace. As for the gods, let's talk about it then. Hwashiu and I came to the canyon and walked along the path towards the bottom of the canyon. When I reached the bottom of the canyon, I was shocked by the sight in front of me. I saw countless corpses lying on the ground. I went to check and found that there was no life left. The corpse energy in these zombies had been drained. When I came to the drought tomb, I found that the seal had indeed been broken. I took Hwashiu into it, and soon came to the main tomb chamber. After entering the main tomb chamber, I saw Nu Ba and Long Ji standing inside, while Zhao Mian stood opposite them. The faces of Nuba and Long Ji were very ugly, and they stared at Zhao Mian. The mask on Zhao Mian's face has been taken off, and his appearance is exactly the same as mine, but there is a bit more evil in his eyebrows. "You want to lie to me, you're still a little green," Princess Longji said disdainfully. "What's wrong?" I stepped forward and asked. When Princess Longji saw me coming, she pointed at Zhao Mian and said, "This guy pretended to be you and wanted to coax the female demon away." I saw through it. I looked at Zhao Mian and saw Zhao Mian looking at me with a smile. Standing in front of him, I felt like I was looking into a mirror. "Have you had enough fun?" I asked. Zhao Mian shrugged and said, "It's not fun at all. This woman is too smart." I wanted to trick her, but to my surprise, she saw through me directly. I looked at Zhao Mian and asked, "What is your purpose?" Zhao Mian raised the corners of his mouth slightly and said with an evil smile, "What do I want to do? Lu Su, I am you. Whatever your purpose is, my purpose is also the same, so don't ask this question anymore." Zhao Mian stretched out, yawned and said to me, "Okay, I'm sleepy, I'm going to rest, so don't leave." He turned around and waved his hand at me. After walking a few steps, he suddenly stopped and said to me, "By the way, there is not much time left in the underworld. You should make plans early. I will come back to find you then you're." I frowned and asked, "Looking for me? Deal with me?" Zhao Mian said casually, "Then it depends on my mood. I have to think carefully about whether to help you or to deal with you. Also, you still owe me a favor, so don't forget it." With that said, Zhao Mian disappeared into the darkness. The favor Zhao Mian was talking about was when he helped me deal with Yan Long on Penglay Immortal Island. I sighed slightly and did not chase Zhao Mian. I looked at the female slave and said, "You're not hurt, are you?" The female slave shook her head and replied, "No, thanks to Long Ji's presence." I looked the female demon up and down and said, "Let's go, I'll take you out." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1309. The female demon shook her head slightly at me and said, "We can't leave now." I was slightly startled and asked, "Why?" Princess Longji said, "On the side, wherever the drought demon passes, not a blade of grass will grow. If we can't find a way to suppress the power of the drought demon, the female demon will bring disaster no matter where she goes." When I heard this, I suddenly realized and said to Princess Longji and the female demon, "Just leave this matter to me. I have a way to suppress the power of the drought demon in her body." Princess Longji nodded slightly, and I said to the female demon, "I want to write my horoscope on your back, because only in this way can I deter the power of the drought demon in your body. I am a person with a purple weak fate, and my fortune is overwhelming. I can easily frighten the drought demon." This approach is the same as when Su Tianxian wrote the 8 characters behind my back to suppress evil spirits. However, I don't have to bear the backlash from the power of the drought demon, because the power of the drought demon is originally the power of the female demon, and I don't have to worry that this power will backfire on her. The female master nodded slightly and said to me, "Then I'll trouble you." I first asked Princess Longji and Huaxiu to wait outside. "Take off your clothes now." The expression on the female master's face was slightly startled, then she nodded, stretched out her white jade hands, and took off the tattered blue clothes on her body. Her beautiful back, as white as snow, caught my eye. Regardless of appearance or figure, the female demon can be said to be one of the most beautiful in the world. She has a beautiful back and waist, and her skin is as white as snow, with a hint of pinkness in her white skin. Although her back is turned to me, just exposing her back is enough to drive most men in the world crazy. I took a deep breath, bit my finger, and touched her skin lightly. It was warm and smooth, like mutton fat jade, and I wrote my horoscope on her back. The scarlet horoscope is integrated into the body of the female slave. I took my hand back and said, "Okay." The female slave put on her clothes and turned around. Her originally fair and pretty face was now extremely red. She said to me, "Thank you." I waved my hand to signal him not to take it to heart. Afterwards, we left Hanbao tomb. When I came out, it was already dawn, the sky was turning white, and the warm morning sun shone on me. The female demon on the side looked at the morning sun, her eyes shining with crystal clarity. I never thought I would be able to see the light of day again one day. The female demon murmured softly. I smiled and said, "From now on, you can live in this world like an ordinary person." The female slave didn't speak, not knowing what to think. I cremated the corpses of the villagers and then buried them. I worked all morning to finish these things. Afterwards, we returned to Ji Yuntang. When he opened the door, he saw Miao Fengluan cleaning. When she saw me coming back, surprise flashed in her eyes, and she quickly stepped forward and asked, "You're back?" I nodded and asked, "Is my third uncle discharged from the hospital?" Miao Fengluan nodded and replied, "Well, he recovered very well, so he was discharged from the hospital early." Because the female slave had nowhere to go, she stayed in Ji Yuntang. Zhang Shi said goodbye to me and then left. At night, Princess Longji suddenly found me and said, "Lu Su, I will leave in a while." "Where to go?" Princess Longji replied, "Yao Kai." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1310. Is it so sudden? I asked. Princess Longji nodded and replied, "Yes, counting the time, your master's inheritance has reached a critical moment. I have to go to Yaokai to prevent those guys from taking action against your master. Fortunately, I will inform you as soon as your master has accepted the inheritance." I looked at Princess Longji and said, "Then this matter will trouble you." Longji waved his hand and replied, "No trouble, this is what should be done. Also, you must not make any mistakes during this period. You and your master have a spiritual connection. If something goes wrong with you, your master can feel anything. You yourself know how much your master cares about you. If, if, your master chooses to give up the inheritance because of your affairs, or the inheritance fails, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Hearing Long Ji's words, I fell into deep thought. Long Ji was right. This inheritance was extremely important to Su Tianxian. If anything went wrong, what awaited her would be the destruction of both body and spirit, and she would never be reincarnated. I looked at the word Xian in my hand, sighed slightly, and said to Long Ji, then this matter will trouble you. If something really happens to me during this period, you must persuade me stay with my master, don't let her mess around. What I will face next is unknown. I can't guarantee whether I can escape unscathed, but at least I won't let Su Tianxian give up the inheritance because of me. Princess Long Ji hummed softly, and then continued towards me, also, there is the matter of Miao Fengluan. I think you don't know her feelings for you, right? I naturally know Miao Fengluan's feelings for me. I nodded and replied, I know. Then what do you think? I sighed and replied, I have treated Miao Fengluan as a relative from the beginning to the end. You also know that with Tianxian in my heart, there is no room for others. It is impossible for me to do anything sorry to Su Tianxian, just as she puts all her thoughts behind me. If I am not clear with other women, wouldn't I be sorry for her? You can make Su Tianxian bigger and Miao Fengluan smaller. Princess Long Ji said with a smile. I rolled my eyes and said, stop joking, okay. This is the 21st century, who still talks about 3 wives and 4 concubines. Princess Long Ji covered her mouth and smiled coquettishly, saying, I was just joking, you're still in a hurry. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. I don't know what to say about the matter between you and Miao Fengluan, but you have to remember that that girl likes you very much. She wants nothing more from you. Just stay with you. I didn't say anything. Princess Long Ji stretched her body and said, okay. I'm going to rest. I'll leave after a while. Afterwards, Princess Long Ji returned to her room, and I walked towards the 2nd floor and came to Su Tianxuan's bedroom. I sat at the table, opened my diary, picked up a pen, and wrote down what happened during this period, and also expressed my longing for Su Tianxian. At night, as soon as I fell asleep, I felt a chill coming from my bones. I opened my eyes suddenly and saw Xiangyi standing beside my bed, with an uncertain expression on his face. You suddenly show up at night, don't you scare me. Xiangyi looked at me and said in a serious tone, something happened in the underworld.